Share this. Sorry. Huh? Huh? Hello? Hello, sorry, I logged out.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was just saying that it is also important to ensure the validity of what we are measuring. And a lot of you will be measuring, and are you going to use a set of questions? The problem now is if those questions, if they are actually assessing the knowledge of that thing. For example, if you want to assess knowledge of, say, family planning, you are effectively setting a question on family planning. But those questions should not be, you cannot say, you cannot just possibly ask, what is family planning? No. No. Or if you want to ask a question about HIV, say, what is the full meaning of HIV? No, it's not. Those ones are not. We are talking about questions that are relevant to public health, and that's why we are talking about validity. Validity must be valid. Should be able to measure what it says it wants to measure. The same thing has to do with attitude. Attitude is an opinion, the opinion of the person or the disposition of the person towards something. So the questions should be able to measure the attitude, should be able to measure or express the opinion or the disposition of what is being measured. And the same thing has to do with practice. You have to assess. At times there is a need to assess the quality of the practice. You should be able to find a way to distinguish those with good practice from those with poor practice. Okay. So the other aspects of objectives, we know them. The other features of objective, like being achievable, being achievable. Sorry, who is helping? Who is the host now? Please, can you just help me put? Okay. So the other objectives, we already know them, so we just quickly move ahead. So we can now go to the study tools. I don't know if there is any question before lecture proper. But what we have just said or what we have discussed so far is just an introduction to what we want to do today. And what we are saying is that your study tool will be influenced by the aim and study objectives. And we said that the aim of a study is usually close to your title. It's usually close to your title and includes everything in that study. And usually the aim is one, of course, stated in one sentence. And the objectives are stated in multiple sentences, probably 5 or 6, 4 or 5 or 6 or so. So we have stated that the aim and the study objectives must influence or influence what you do, should influence your data, should influence how you design your study tool. Okay, so Candy, your hand is up.
Yes, Prof. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
Please, Prof, thank you for your lecture. I have one question. During our research proposal, in epidemiology, our panel, the panel that was set up to take the proposal, they were really much against knowledge, attitude, and practice. And what I noticed was for everyone who had a knowledge, attitude, and practice, the topic was either turned down or refreshed. And then again, when the knowledge, attitude, and practice was reflected in specific objective, they kept saying it's a weak objective, it's a weak objective, change it. So, but from your lecture, you're saying it has to come in first before you reach the destination. So I don't know how we can marry that.
Yeah, I know. It's not enough to criticize. The person that said you should remove, what did he add? So the panelists, they are not expected to just remove. If you remove, you must add.
But Prof, I was just sharing
I know,
our experience.
I know.
In epidemiology had, and it was really very frustrating. A lot of us had our topics canceled.
Yes, the thing there is going to be addressed. And I must say that the issue has been in the School of Public Health, that and practice, they are almost like they are what they call the formative research. And I can tell you that if you are not experienced, if you are not an experienced researcher, you must always look for something that is clearly measurable, that you can know how to measure. You also requires a lot of knowledge for you to pinpoint. But we know that a lot of the health issues we have in Nigeria, and even in the world, are lifestyle related. And if something is lifestyle related, it has to do with knowledge. Those determinants they want to run away from has to do with the knowledge of something, has to do with the attitude of something. So that is the thing. I believe for someone to say that knowledge, attitude are weak objectives. The question there, just as I've asked you, what did they add? Because they are not going to add much. No, and just as I try to explain, if you have optic, optic is the end point. Optic is the end point. And as much as possible, you collect as much data as possible, because it's going to help you have a full idea of everything. In fact, I just believe that when it comes to practical public health, and practice should almost be like the social demographics. They are not, you may not add them in your study objective, but you must always assess them. So I don't know. Can you just give me an example of one of those?
Prof, of one of which one? The topics?
Yes.
Okay, like my own topic, even though my own issue was also peculiar that the topic was shared between two students and it was turned down, but my own topic was knowledge, attitude, and use of malaria preventive medicine amongst pregnant women attending antenatal clinics in general hospitals in Akwa Ibom State. So And then every other person that had a topic related to knowledge attitude.
I know. You see, okay, it's all right. I'm not just so we can move forward. I'm going to take it up with them.
Okay, sir.
Just as I said, if they remove, let them add.
Okay, sir.
And that is why we changed the terminology. We didn't call it proposal defense. We call it proposal presentation, so that they are the experts. They are supposed, and I understand that research skills are very, very low. So it's better to measure what you can easily measure. And that is why in this lecture, we are going to emphasize, we are going to show how you must measure knowledge in a valid way. Because if you measure knowledge in a valid way, it is much more robust. Because a lot of them think that knowledge is probably to add, are you aware of this? Knowledge is different from awareness, and attitude is different. And we are going to show in this lecture, I'm sure that you have an idea of what we want to say, I want to do, because you have had this lecture under study, under research methodology. The technicalities involve knowledge, attitude, and practice. It is not as simple, as easy as those that have castigated that. But I'm going to take it up from with them. Okay. Is that Faith?
Yes,
hello, Faith.
Yes. Sir. Morning, sir. So I just have a question. So since we've been talking about questionnaires and how to use study tools, so I wanted to ask, if you are not using a quiz, so you need to extract data from a database, like quantitative data, you need to extract it out. Which study tool would you use? Because you're not asking participants.
Anyway, unfortunately, it seems our introduction is longer than it should. We are still in the introduction. We are just getting into the study tool.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so apologies. Apologies for taking a lot of time in the introduction. Ba, is it Eba was, I don't know if you...
I somehow brought down my heart. Thank you. I wanted to react to the issue in epidemiology. I think I understood it differently. My own study was on uptake and determinants of immunization in a community. It was a community study. Yeah. So are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, but Professor, the panelists were of the opinion that if it's a community study, the knowledge and attitude can go well. But where you are using a university campus and you are trying to assess knowledge of HIV, for instance, in a university among university students, it may not be a good objective.
Okay. So that is their explanation.
Yes, somehow in some cases.
Knowledge of what?
If, for instance, so a student presented knowledge, was looking for an objective of knowledge and attitude of HIV at University of Port Harcourt, something like that, and then
you talk about knowledge of prevention, just as we said.
Yes.
Just as we said, that knowledge, you cannot say because somebody is, we have what we call, anyway, probably in that course on social medicine. We told you that there are some that we can call health illiterates. Those with, they may have PhD, and technically illiterates when it comes to health. So you cannot say that, oh, because somebody is an undergraduate and somebody will think that, I don't want to use that example. We'll think that witches are responsible for road traffic accidents.
Yes.
In fact, it is a lot of studies. In fact, went ahead. They have found very interesting, they have made very interesting findings. They have made very interesting findings. In fact, the last section, someone found out that I think he did something about refuse disposal, solid waste management in the campus. And over 70% of the students actually recorded that bad smell was can cause can cause sickness.
Yes, sir.
Can cause I think was it typhoid? Can cause typhoid. Do you expect it? Do you expect it from my university students? How are you going to find out when you didn't ask? And just as we said, if you go to do a study, it is better you collect as much information as possible than for you to collect just a few. So that is actually my disposition. And yes, that is actually my disposition. And okay, so that is that. Not about those in the community or those in the university. In fact, it is always better. It's always better, especially when it comes to uptake, like your own study. It's always better to find out the knowledge and then the uptake, so that you know if the uptake is poor, if the uptake is poor and the knowledge is high and attitude is good, you know that the problem is not health education, will not be solved by health education because their knowledge is already high. So instead, you will know that the problem is how to make the services available. That is how these things are done. So it's not as easy as that. Okay, so we can make progress if there is no other question. So I think I will advise you, or I will encourage you. So if you go, don't be ashamed of CAP studies. Don't be ashamed of CAP studies. They are probably the best studies you can do, because they give you the knowledge. They give you an idea for your intervention. They are also called formative studies, because when you have to be informed about something before you can go ahead and do the interventional studies that will assess the effect of something. Okay. So we can make progress. So the other thing, so we can go to the study tools. So studies, the commonly involves the collection of quantitative and qualitative data. And we said you will notice that in public health, we are more interested in study objectives. In fact, they say we should call it study objectives, but at times we call it specific objectives. We are interested because specific objectives ensures that you collect quantitative data. But for research questions, we ask questions, and the tendencies for people to collect qualitative data, which are usually reported in words. And at times you combine the two. So for quantitative data, we prefer them because they can easily be replicated. And we have the common ones we use are the questionnaire, the Proforma, that is used for manual extraction of secondary data. We have institute measurement equipment, we have anthropometric measurements, and so forth. So we have all these, and we are going to discuss them. The first one is the questionnaire. The first one is the questionnaire. When you go out, the questionnaire is actually a list of questions, and preferably that list should contain questions, and the questions should flow into one another. One should flow into one another so that it's almost like a discussion. So that is it. But the questionnaire is not just a list of questions. The questions in questionnaires have been structured in such a way that they can convert the words of the respondents into words, into numbers, just as we have talked about. We are talking about precision. So a questionnaire should, of course, should be based on the specific objectives. The question should be short, simple, and unambiguous. They should be able to answers, if possible, no direct answers. No leading questions. Most people think that TB is a serious disease. No, it's not. They are not good questions. Okay, so questions in the questionnaire can be open-ended or closed-ended. Open-ended is when you just give the questions and allow the respondents to provide the options. We don't encourage this because they are very difficult. They are very difficult to assess. They are very difficult to analyze, because if you give the respondents opportunity to write whatever they feel, when you are analyzing them, you will need to pull their responses together, and that is problematic. Okay, so for close-ended questions, you give options. You give options in close-ended questions. Close-ended questions, you give options. These ones these are close-ended questions are highly recommended. Close-ended questions are highly recommended because they are faster to administer and easier to analyze. Faster to administer and easier to analyze. And then, of course, based on their content or their question content, a questionnaire can be classified into structured, semi-structured, and unstructured questionnaire. A structured questionnaire contains only close-ended questions. Unstructured questionnaires contain only open-ended questions, while semi-structured questionnaires contain both. So when after you design a questionnaire, you have to pre-test the questionnaire. You have to pre-test the questionnaire. They recommend that you pre-test the questionnaire you don't administer the questionnaire on the population, but instead a similar population. 10% of the sample size is recommended, and the purpose of a pre-test is to find out, to detect ambiguous questions. This is to detect ambiguous questions for correction. Then you can administer your questionnaire. You administer your questionnaire in 2 ways, either the self-administered. Self-administered, you give the questionnaire to the respondents to answer. And then after answering the questionnaire, the respondents will return back the questionnaire. The problem is these self-administered questionnaires are cheaper, but the no-response rates. The no-response rate is higher. In fact, when you are calculating your sample size and you are using administration, then you shouldn't use the usual 10%, but you can make it up to 20, 30%. But the good thing about the self-administered questionnaire is that you can use, they are very good for sensitive information. Why? For collecting sensitive information. For example, reproductive health. Those reproductive health questions that ask questions that are very private, it is better to use administration. But the problem is that for self-administration, the respondents must be literate enough. The respondents must be literate enough, which is very, very, it is surprising in Nigeria that even secondary school leavers may not be as literate as that qualification should give. So if you're administering a questionnaire to a lot of the Nigerian population, perhaps outside the university, it should be it should not be self-administration because of the poor literacy level of then interview administered questionnaires are recommended, especially for when you're administering to illiterate population. When you're administering to illiterate population, they are more expensive. But the good thing is that you'll be sure to retrieve a lot of the questionnaires. You'll be sure to retrieve a lot of the questions. Then, if you are using okay, the hand is up. Okuma, I hope I got that pronunciation right. Your hand is up. You want to ask a question? Okay. So for the interview administered questionnaire, you need you may not be able to administer the questionnaire yourself, 100% by yourself. So you need assistance, and if you need assistance, you must train them. You must train them properly to ensure that the questionnaire is administered in a uniform way. And this is to eliminate what is called interviewer bias. Must be, and I must say that you cannot combine the two methods. You cannot give some, make some self-administer, give some to respondents you feel can answer the questions, and then self-administer interview administer the rest. No, you can't combine them because that will introduce a form of bias. Okay. We have to also say that the questionnaire can be in person, can be electronic. A questionnaire can be in person, can be electronic. And yes, in person can be electronic. And then for in person, you can even use hard copy. You can use the electronic copy. In that case, now you will use your handheld device, probably a smartphone, and the questionnaire and answer the questionnaire directly. Okay, so you can explore all this. When you use electronic questionnaires, they are easier to analyze. Because the data have already been inputted. So you just to transport package, and then and the analysis will be carried out. Okay, so I don't know if there's any question before we go to the actual questionnaire design.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
This is Lukman speaking, sir.
Okay, Lukman, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Regarding the using the electronic means of collecting question rather. Now you can see most of these days, most of the this app, they use data networks in a community where probably you're thinking there might not be network, there might not be data. can you probably use your hard copy and later transform it if it is a interviewer administer means of collecting question? Thanks so much, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is, if you use all those survey, if you use them, I think they have that capacity. I'm sure that you have sent a WhatsApp message before without a network. Have you done that before?
I've not tried, sir. I don't know.
Okay, you're always with network.
Yes, sir. We've tried it. It works.
Data. Yes, once you can when you send it, it may not deliver, or it may not. But once there is network, it will just save, or it will get delivered. So I'm sure that a lot of those Google Form and the rest, I'm sure that they have such capacities. Okay, so you can work offline, and immediately you have network, it will just upload. Okay.
Okay. I think
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My question is, if we now use this electronic means of using this questionnaire, would that still be interviewable? You are sending this question to somebody electronically for the person to answer. It becomes self-administered now. How can you now interact with that person when it's electronic? Automatically, it becomes self-administered. Can it still be considered as interview administered? Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, Prof.
Yes.
Can you hear my question?
Yes, just repeat it, please.
Okay, my question is, I say in administering the questionnaire, we know that maybe electronically it will be easier to administer and also analyze. But if we send through electronically to the respondent, can that be considered as interviewer administered when the questions are sent to respondents for them to answer on their own? Automatically it becomes self-administered,
Yes.
is it not?
Yes.
So we that have is having the question of using interviewer administered, is it possible for us to use electronically to send our questionnaires for response?
Okay. Okay. The fact is this: once you use can be electronic, can be paper. Electronic, you can just send them. You can send them the link, and they will answer.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But yes. And if you do that, it means that the non-response rate may also be higher.
Yes, yes.
Non-response rate will be higher because a lot of persons will even forget to respond. In fact, including me, I have been asked to respond and I didn't. Okay.
Yes,
but but you can also do self-administration using electronic. In that case, now just like was it just as he said, with your phone, you can actually answer it there. And we are saying that even without network, it can save. You can save it. And once you have network, it will just automatically upload. Okay.
Yeah, well done, Prof. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. I just want to contribute little to question my colleagues asked. Kobo Collect can solve all this problem you can collect your data using Kobo Collect, and you can save it as draft. It will save automatically without network, and you don't need network. And at the end, it will also give you to ask the question directly from your respondent. You'll be the one to click the answer from either your Android or your tab. It's very easy.
That is fine. That is fine. Thank you very much for that information. Lukman, I'm sure that you have heard.
Yes, I got to try. I got to try.
In fact, I believe that it should be cheaper.
Yes,
cheaper. And because the cost of paper
should take the name of the app again.
Kobo.
Google Collect.
Now let him take the Kobo.
Kobo as in
Kobo. Kobo, like our Naira and Kobo.
The dead junior brother of Good Naira.
Our Naira and Kobo.
Okay.
Naira and Kobo.
Okay. So we can
Thank you,
so we can go to the design, which is I think the main aspect of this study. So the questionnaires are not only listed, not only a list of questions, but can be used for the following purposes. You can use the questionnaire to assess the prevalence, or even uptake. We have said of the knowledge, the attitude, the practice. We can we can use the questionnaire for that. For the prevalence of any disease or health-related events, you need to precisely what we consider the disease. In that case now, what you consider the disease. Remember, we are talking about the different definition. It can be case definition, it can be laboratory definition, it can be any, you can use whichever one that you can afford. But look at that. In the current 2015 National Demographic and Health Survey, respiratory infection was described as the prevalence of acute respiratory infections as infections were estimated by asking mothers whether their children under 5 years had been sick with cough accompanied by short or rapid breathing in the 2 weeks preceding the study. So they use a case definition. A case definition can be used. You can use case definition to assess the prevalence of something. And then you can use a case definition to describe, remember we talked about prevalence, all those ones you can. Then the other one is the knowledge, which that is what we want to say. That is what the complicity we want the validity, to increase the validity of the studies we carry out. Because I'm sure that those that feel that, in fact, some people feel that KAP studies, knowledge, attitude, and practice studies, are not public, are not postgraduates. A lot of it is because they are not used to assessing knowledge or attitude or even practice the way we want to also do this, the way we are doing this. Okay. So the other one, so the first thing now is that you are assessing knowledge, and it is advised that you assess knowledge using exam-like questions. You assess knowledge using exam-like questions. And not to give, it is the best is MCQ. The best is to use MCQ. In fact, to ensure the brevity, to ensure that your questionnaire doesn't run into multiple pages, I would recommend true or false questions. I would recommend true or false questions. And at times, it will also make the questions either 5 or 10 And then you ask questions that test the knowledge of what you are assessing. Knowledge of what you are assessing. And please note that the questions must be relevant. The questions must be relevant. The questions must be able to assess the knowledge and not of what you are researching. So knowledge of diabetes, if you are assessing knowledge, the questions to assess knowledge of diabetes may be different from the questions you are going to use to assess knowledge of diabetes self-management. So the questions will have to be relevant in that aspect, what you are studying, and not the broad subject. So the knowledge has to be relevant. You should be able to actually test what you are. Okay. And the question should be able to answer. The questions should not be too technical, should not be academic, should be relevant to the subject. Just as we have said. And please know that you concentrate on that aspect of the study. If you are interested in screening, if you are interested in screening, say for cervical cancer screening, it is better you ask them about cervical cancer screening. And
then ask them about those questions.
Then, of course, when you have asked the question, the way to analyze the questions is similar to the way you analyze, you mark exam questions. Is similar to the way you mark exam questions. So if you set 10 questions to test the knowledge, at the end of the whole thing, you don't give us a frequency table of those that answered yes, or those that answered true, and those that answered false. No, you give us the frequency of those that answered correctly. Of those that answered correctly. At times you can also give us, of course, if you give us the percentage of those that answered, the reverse will be the case, because it is either they answered correctly or they answered wrongly. And that is why we're able to find out that some university students thought that past smell could cause typhoid. So it's also important to report interesting wrong answers. So at the end of the whole thing, each respondent will now have a score, like we do in exam. Each respondent will now have a score, and then you will use the score to place the respondents, whether they passed or they failed. But in this case now, you can group them into poor, average, and good knowledge. Okay? Okay. So that is it for knowledge. Yes, we have said this. That is it for knowledge. I don't know if there is any question on this knowledge before we go to attitude. Do we have any problem with how this knowledge is assessed? This is very, very important, because as you are.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good.
Thank you for the lecture, sir. Please, in respect to this assessing knowledge, can one use strongly agree, strongly disagree, disagree, neutral? Can someone use it as part of the LCQ?
Oga McDonald,
Sir.
I'm sure that you have been in school for a long time, eh?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen any exam question like that?
No, sir.
But we have said that you assess knowledge now. Those questions are like exam questions. They are either true or they are false.
All right, sir. Okay.
So it's not about their opinion. It is in the attitude that you can use that. Please just note that, please, Donald. I hope you, because I see a lot.
Noted, sir. Noted, sir.
I see a lot of people design their questionnaire in that format. Please, the knowledge questions are like exam questions, and the respondents will now answer, and will be awarded a score, and then you can now place them whether they appropriately, whether they have good knowledge, they have good knowledge or poor knowledge. Please note. Okay. Is there
okay, Prof?
Yeah.
Yes, Prof. My question is, if you are to rate them as having good knowledge, poor knowledge, or what's the third option? There's a third option, average. How do you grade them on a true or false question? How do you get average on a true or false?
To have a score now.
You only have yes or no, so true or false rather. So
true or false.
Where do you have the average?
God's will or God will.
Okay.
We said that they are exam-like questions.
Okay.
Because they are testing knowledge.
Okay.
They are testing knowledge. So they will have a score, just like an exam.
Oh, okay. Understood now.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay, so that one is the knowledge is clear now. Please, I think it will be nice for us to reiterate this, because this is very, very important. A lot of you are doing or have knowledge to assess knowledge as part of your study objectives. Please just note, we can repeat this, because a lot of you will need to that. I think we have to emphasize this, because we need it. We need it to show those people, that feel that knowledge is elementary. To assess knowledge is elementary. We need to show them this aspect. We need to show them this aspect. I don't know. I think I can go through the steps involved. The first thing, for you to design the knowledge, to set the knowledge question, first of all, you have to read about that aspect. For diabetes, self-management, you read about diabetes self-management. For malaria prevention, you read about malaria prevention. You first of all have that knowledge, and then set the questions. Set the questions, and let, preferably, because of lack of space, you are using MCQ. You can use true or false. True or false. The 10 question, true or false. And that will be the knowledge. And if possible, you number them 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 separately. And you administer them. And for you to analyze them, you don't analyze them the usual way you analyze the other parts of your questionnaire. They are not frequencies. They are not presenting frequency true or those that answered false. You are giving us the frequency of those that answered correctly. The frequency of those that answered correctly. That is That is what you are giving us. And then you have to go ahead and see. Then you have to give us a table where you have placed the respondents into knowledge, average knowledge, and good knowledge based on clearly stated cutoff points. I hope that this is clear enough, because it's going to save us a lot of problems when we are doing the review, especially in those that are using the online supervision platform. Ensure that, and that's why we are saying that even the service providers should attend, so that they will be able to take note. Okay, so if there is no other question, we can go to the attitude. The attitude is like is assessed or almost like the knowledge. But the only difference is that knowledge is assessed with true or false questions, but the attitude seeks the opinion or the disposition of the respondents, the opinion or the disposition of the respondents. And it is better, or is best assessed using the Likert scale. In that case, now it is not true or false, but you can ask whether they agree or they disagree or they are indifferent. That is if you are using the 3 points. 3 points will be agree, disagree, indifferent. Or you use the 5 points, agree, indifferent, disagree, and strongly disagree. And you are going to score them. For attitude, you have to score them. For attitude, you have to score them. If you ask them, for example, you ask them, it is good that, for example, husbands can physically beat their wives. That can be a question under attitude, and they will be expected to answer whether they agree, they disagree, and either they strongly disagree, they disagree, they are indifferent, or that. Then you score them. Okay, so now, what do you think? So the scoring, if you are using a 3-point scale, a 3-point Likert scale, it will be +1 and -1. It will range from +1 to -1. If you are using a 5-point Likert scale, it will range from +2 to -2. And then you score appropriately. So I want to ask this question. You say it is, if you ask them, it is nice, or it is husbands can beat their wives to maintain discipline. What do you think should be? What do you think? Which response do you think should be awarded +2, and which response do you think should be awarded -2? I don't know if there's anybody.
-2 will be strongly disagree. -2.
Okay.
-2 will be strongly disagree.
Okay. -2.
And then +2
Sorry?
will be
-2. You said -2 is okay. Strongly disagree.
Will be strongly agree. -2 will be strongly agree. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
-2 strongly agree.
Which means that
+2 strongly disagree.
Okay. So which means that it is a negative thing that should be disagreed. Eh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then,
Please, sir.
Yes.
Please, I don't understand the question.
You didn't understand the question?
Yes, sir. To follow along.
Okay. Anyway, I just asked whether it is nice that a husband that it is nice for a husband to beat the wife.
Okay.
What do you think?
To maintain discipline.
To maintain
To
discipline.
maintain discipline.
Okay, to maintain discipline.
It is not good at all.
What do you think?
I don't believe that he should be beating the wife to maintain discipline. Strongly disagree.
So that is it now. So if it is, and that is what is right.
Okay.
That is the right attitude. But for you to rate it, anybody that strongly disagrees, you give +2. But anybody that strongly agrees, you give -2.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next thing will be, sorry, I need to get this thing sorted out. Hello? Okay, I'm coming. Please, yeah. Okay, the other thing now is, okay. The other thing now is,
Sorry, sir. What if the person is indifferent? How do you score the person?
You give the person
0.
Okay.
Okay. Please. Give me 1 minute to sort out this thing.
It seems something is wrong with the volume. Can anyone hear me, please?
There's nothing wrong. He told us to give him some time. He told us
It's
to
all right,
give
thank
him
you.
some time.
Thank
Yes,
thank
to answer a call. So we are
Okay,
all waiting.
thank you so
You're welcome.
much. My device.
Mm.
Okay, sorry. Oh. That is how modern lectures are. Okay, so I think we can move forward. Hello, I hope you are there.
Yes, we are here.
Yeah, we are with you, Prof.
Okay, so we can move forward. So the other thing is we are talking about attitude. The thing there is the analysis. And that is where it is a little bit tricky. Most times, we want you to set the question to be both ways. Both students will not begin to guess. So that strongly disagree will not be the right answer, the correct responses that will be given a 2 point plus 2. You can mix them up. It will be, for example, it is nice. Men should play an active role in family planning. Men should play an active role in family planning. You see that for plus two will be strongly agree now. So if you mix them up, how do you now analyze the cumulative score? Because each respondent will have a, how do you analyze that? And that is where I don't know, at times I see some persons use statistical method, but it is incorrect. So if you mix them up, it means that for somebody to have positive attitude, that person will have a cumulative score that is positive. For a person with negative attitude, that person will have a cumulative score that is negative. And of course, if the person has a cumulative score of 0, it means that that person is indifferent. I hope that is clear enough. Because I have seen some persons say so percentage of so percentage is positive. No, it's not like that, because you have mixed them up. You have mixed them up. Yes, you have mixed them up. So you cannot consistently say that strongly agree is +2. Because if you change the question, if you change the question, it will become -2. Okay. I hope that's okay. So we have talked about this. So the other one is the practice. We also encourage that practice should be, if possible, practice should be, you are comparing the practice with the standard. You are comparing the practice with the standard. If you are comparing the practice, it means that if, for example, hand washing has different aspects. You wash with you wash with water, you wash with soap, you wash your hands, you rub your hands at least for a certain number of times. You have to find out if the respondents, if they do that. You have to find out from the respondents if they do that. There are responses you can use that to use their responses to rate them, whether they have good attitude practice or not. Sorry, we have exceeded the we have exceeded the 2-hour period, but don't worry, we'll just quickly round up. So the questionnaire, the knowledge, attitude, and practice, at least we have been able to state how to set those questions. Then for the pro forma is the data extraction sheet. Data extraction sheet should be based on what the information you are requiring, the information you are requiring. And this information you are requiring, you are extracting, it should be relevant to the study. Should be relevant to the study. Carrying out a study on treatment outcome. You have to identify the treatment regime. You have to identify the adherence, whether they comply to the compliance to the treatment. You have to identify the dropout rate, the cure rate, and the rest. And if possible, yes. So all those things from your to do that. You should be able to do that. Then in-situ measurement, you are using different equipment to measure. You are using different equipment to measure. And remember that in-situ means that you are testing right there. You are testing right there. For qualitative data, we have recommended qualitative data, especially for health information management. If you're assessing a facility, if you're assessing what they do in a hospital, there's no need administering questionnaire to the workers, because workers or the staff of any health facility will comply with how it is done in that facility. So instead of you to go questionnaire, if you administer questionnaire to all of them, their responses are likely to be the same. So to save costs, you use these qualitative measures, the qualitative methods. especially focus group discussion, key informant discussion interviews, where you just interview the HOD or head of unit, and he or she should be able to give what you require. But the only problem with key informant interview and these qualitative measures studies is that they don't have figures. You don't have figures. In fact, if it is the only thing you are using, you can't even calculate the sample size. You can't even calculate the sample size. So I think I don't know. I think all these ones we can. All these ones are not important. Or sorry, are not difficult because we have done them before. But the main thing there, the main purpose of this lecture actually is to reemphasize how knowledge, attitude, and practice are assessed, how you have to design them in your questionnaire. Okay, so I don't know if there are questions. I think I'm going to make up. If there is any question, I think I will answer them. I know that the time is spent, and I wouldn't want to extend the lecture any further. So, but I will answer any question being asked. So I will make up by answering the questions. I don't know if this hand is great.
Good morning.
This is a technical problem. Hello.
Prof?
Yes.
I couldn't ask earlier. I had issues with my keypad. I wanted to ask, taking you back to the pre-test, is it possible to carry out the pre-test in a different location apart from outside my own local government?
Yeah,
for that 10%?
Yeah, provided. In fact, a pre-test should not be carried out within the study population. It should be outside.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
But you know the purpose of a pre-test is to find out whether those questions, if the questions can be understood, are comprehensible to the respondents.
Okay, so I can do it in a different local government, like
of
Uyo.
Course, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Is there any other question? Sorry, it shows that there is something wrong. The participation is not as we used to know. So I know. So it's not a good time to schedule a lecture like this. So, but it's all right. Anthony, you want to say something?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah.
Good morning, Prof. I think the timing is one, but the other thing is that the number couldn't exceed 100 for the participants to join. So I had to struggle and just join 20 minutes to this closing time. So I just want to make a humble request. Will the recording be shared so that we can, go through it, and if we have issues, is it possible we can reach out to you?
It will. Apologies.
Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yeah. Go.
Please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, can you take us through the literature review a little, just a little, if you can?
Yeah.
If time will allow.
I will do that because after this proposal, it is now time to bulk up your work. And literature review is where you are going to succeed in if you will meet the 25,000 where is the literature review. So literature review has 3 components. You have the theoretical framework, the conceptual framework, and then the empirical review. The theoretical framework has to do with the theory in which the study is based. For example, we are talking about the CAP studies, that all of practice, optics, and everything, you usually start with knowledge. So, and we want you, those theories, those behavioral change theories, what we talked about in the course on in health promotion, that's where they come in. Yes, that's why they come in. How knowledge will translate to attitude, positive attitude, and how positive attitude will translate into practice. So that is where they come up. Then for the conceptual framework, it is where you almost like add everything, like your lecture notes. Do lecture notes, write lecture notes on those things. If you aim, if the target is probably about 50 pages or more for you, then the literature empirical review is that you review the literature according to your specific objectives. You review the literature according to the specific objective. So usually you will have, I think all of you, the minimum specific objective is 4. We have always added that to determine the factor. Not straightforward descriptive study. You can do cross tabulations. You can do, it is only when you do cross tabulation that, yes, so that all of you will not stop at presenting just descriptive data. You will do cross tabulations. Okay, so that is it. That is that for the literature review. Hello, Nte. Hello, is it Sandra? Hello, go on, madam. Hey, yeah, network. I can't hear you. Okay, I can't hear Nte, so I think I can. I want to end the lecture, and then I would encourage you to please make an attempt, start work on your study objectives, do it, and then upload, or you send to your supervisor, and they will be reviewed and corrected. And after that, you can go ahead and do your. After that, you can go ahead and fill your ethical application form. Sorry? Okay, she has gone. Okay, so I don't know if there is no other question. I think I have to end this section at this point. Thank you very much, and apologies for taking you out of your comfort zone.
Prof, can I call you immediately? Sorry.
Okay, you can. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, and have the best of the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So please accept the material. Let us go along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Immediately after this, start writing their.
Thank you, Prof.
Then the correction will be sent, and then after that,
Everybody is sleep for the